Alright, so now that we finished margin collapse, let's go on to the next section. Minimum and maximum height and width. Loading. Now let's review what a collapse was. Collapse was when you choose the maximum margin size of the vertical margins, of adjacent vertical margins. Okay, so here, minimum and maximum height and width. Because a web page can be viewed through displays of differing screen size, the content on the web page can suffer from those changes in size. To avoid this problem, CSS offers two properties that can limit how narrow or how wide an element's box can be sized to. Min width and max width can limit how narrow or how wide an element's box can be sized to. So what is the problem? The problem here is the content of the web page can suffer from those changes in size. And min width is the property that ensures a minimum width of an element's box. So it could be at least this size. And the max width is this property ensures a maximum width of an element's box. In this example above, the width of all paragraphs will not shrink below 300 pixels, nor will the width exceed 600 pixels. In the example above, the width of all paragraphs will not shrink below 300 pixels, nor will the width exceed 600 pixels. So at the minimum, this is the most smallest size it could be. So what I said earlier was wrong. It cannot go below 300 pixels. And max width, it cannot go above 600 pixels. So it puts a limit on how small it can be and how big it can be. Content, like text, can become difficult to read when a browser window is narrowed or expanded. These two properties ensure that content is legible by limiting the minimum and maximum widths of an element. You can also limit the minimum and maximum height of an element. Min height. This property ensures a minimum height for an element's box. This property ensures a minimum height of an element's box. This property ensures a maximum height of an element's box. In the example above, the height of all paragraphs will not shrink below 150 pixels, and the height will not exceed 300 pixels. What will happen to the contents of an element's box if the max height property is set too low? It's possible for the content to spill outside of the box, resulting in content that is not legible. You'll learn how to work around this issue in the next exercise. What's the next exercise? Overflow. In style.css, set the minimum width of the P elements to 200 pixels. After you've done this successfully, resize the browser and notice how the paragraphs box will no longer shrink below 200 pixels. the paragraph box. Resize the browser and notice, can I do this? Okay, so right now, as we shrink the width, we can have one word. We can have one word on each line. Now, if we set the minimum width of P, they gave us a space allotted for the min width property. I forgot what it was. Min width of 200 pixels. It has to be at least 200 pixels. Maybe what I said earlier was right. It has to be at least 200 pixels. Now let's run that, and now let's see how many words we can have. So look at that. As we shrink it, it doesn't go back to rendering one word on each line. This is the minimum size it has to be until recently construction, about 3 words a line. Okay, so now that we saw what minimum width is, let's see maximum width. So as we expand it, there is no limit to maximum. Let me see. Oh, where did it go? Let me expand.